Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. We're back in my shop, Mitch behind the cameras. And we're working on Excelsior frames today. We have a couple castings here, and I'm going to machine this one, and we'll start on this one. This one is more complex, there's more steps involved. So right here, for me to work on this casting, I've got a fixture here, and it goes like so. This piece of aluminum is a spacer underneath here. And I have to machine these. I got to drill a hole, and this has to be bored out to fit the frame tube. On the head tube casting, this is all the fixturing for it. It's much more involved, and I mean, look at all this does is this one piece, and then it gets all put away. So I haven't done this for, I was thinking about it, maybe 13 years. So I looked in my book, and I've got a book I'm going to show you later. I call it the Excelsior Bible because it tells me what to do. But first of all, we're going to work on this. So I'll show you how this sets up. So this fits on like that. And then I have to center it. Then I've got this piece. It's not easy machining castings because castings aren't always exactly the same size. They vary a little bit. So you have to make allowances, and sometimes there's a little bit of a compromise, I would say. That's how that fits together. And I want to make sure that there's a little bit of overhang on each side, because this is 4 inches. It's a piece of flat bar, and this has to be machined to 4.020. So we're going to leave a little bit on each side, and then after that we drill the hole. And now we'll go over to the mill. Thanks for tuning in. All right, the fixture which I showed you over on the bench is now held here. I've got a spacer block on the bottom. I got a couple C-clamps here, so I'm going to mill this side. Then I'm going to flip it round, and it's basically held against my big angle plate here. So that's holding it at a 90, and it's held securely. So I'm going to use the digital readout, and I'm going to come down onto this face here, and I'll zero it, and then I'll raise up the cutter by 10 thou. And then that should be the right size. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, so it gets flipped over now. It basically stops it from moving down if there's force. So this is going to help a lot when I drill the hole. Here we go. Okay, so we're at 4.033, so I need to take off another 13 thou. Okay, 4.020, that's good. All right, so that's the right size. So what I need to do now, I got to mark the middle. So I've got this little piece here, and I put it on top. And I take my red Sharpie, and this is the start of the hole now then. So that looks good there. Okay, so there's the center, and then I use a center drill, a pilot drill, and the final size. It's a clearance for 17/7/16. It feels like there's a little bit of a hole inside the casting, and as I'm going down, I can feel it a little bit harder, a little bit softer. So there's some inconsistencies in the casting, but it'll be okay. That's pretty handy how I can just flip it over and it's basically right where I want it to be. I just have to line up with this now. So we'll do the same thing again. We're going to mark out the center. It's through. It feels like the holes met really nicely, so that's good. This is a 7/16 stud, and we'll see how it fits. Oh, it goes in there nicely, so a little bit of play. Okay, we're good. So what happens next is I have to work on this side here, and it's an angle of 4 degrees. So I think I got to spin the this around. It's been like 13 years, and I looked at my notes, but my notes don't say anything. So I just have to figure it out as I go. That's okay. We have to flatten out the top, and then we'll bore it. Okay. Okay, let's try this. Oh, got a wobble. Okay, we hit the bottom. I got the boring bar in here. I put in the longer boring bar because otherwise with the shorter one, this was going to hit somewhere. So I think this is going to work. And we're going to take a few cuts and make it large enough for the tube to fit inside to get brazed. All right, here's the tube. Looks good. Okay, this part is done. We'll go back to the bench, and I'm going to explain a few things to you. Okay. We're back on the bench, and this is my booklet. It's my Bible on how to make an Excelsior. I've got notes on everything, I believe. And on the casting, I've got 6 pages of notes and photographs. And so Mitch is going to put those up on screen for you. And it tells me what to do, although it's been a lot of years, so I have to look at it and I got to think about it a bit. So what's going to happen is it goes back in the mill, and on a casting, you always have to hold it somehow. So what I did, see these bosses here? That's what holds a part of the linkage, and the linkage has to turn here, and it gets a 5/16 National Fine thread. So I made up this, and this is what helps to hold it. So the first step is to set this up in the mill and machine these faces to the same size as this so that that fits on. You can see it's a little bit, well, at the moment it just won't go on. So that's what holds it down. And these are the bolts that go in and hold it. And then this is part of the fixturing as well, because the head tube goes over this like that. Okay, so this gets bolted down onto the mill table, and then I have to have it centered onto this. So I made up a tool that goes up into the quill, and it comes down, and when that fits over, I know that I am centered with the cone, because I have to bore this for the roller bearing and the other end. So that's how that works. And this goes like that, and there's a nut that holds this down. So the 5/16 bolts go in, and then there's a support here, and that's what holds it down. And there's also all this other stuff over here which has to hold it from vibrating. So it took quite a while to make up all these pieces and to figure out how to do it. This is version number 2, because the first one was much too flimsy and it didn't work very well. I wasn't satisfied with it. So I used this as well, and this is out of the bicycle world. This is a head tube holder. It's got the cam there. You see how that works? So this goes like that. It's got a cone. There's another cone here. And then you see there's a ramp. It's like a cam. I'll call it a cam. So you put that like that. You tighten this. You spread them apart. And that locks it. That is solid. So I'm going to hang this on some V-blocks, and then I machine this and this so that this just fits over there. And then I tap the threads, and then we're on to this part. Am I making sense? I hope so. All right, we're going to go to the mill. I'm going to set up. Okay, that's 20 thou off each side. Okay, I got 13 thou left. Okay, so we need to take off another. It says we're at the right size. So I don't know what my mill's doing. That's a good fit. See that? That's a good fit. I got a spiral point tap here, so I don't have to go back and forth. And I can feel when it bottoms out. There we go. It's hitting. So that's okay. Okay, that's one side. And now we do the other side. And then we set this up so that this is vertical. It's a lot of work making these castings and getting them machined. Not a simple job. Okay, so what I've done here, I've bolted the fixture down onto the table, and I've centered this so that now I know that the quill is in line with the fixture because this goes over top nicely. I've zeroed out the digital readout so I know my X and Y, and then I have to put on the head tube now. So that goes on like that. I made these fixtures 2007 maybe. Oh, look at that. Okay, so that's holding there. Okay, so these guys are tight. And then you see these 3 Allen screws here? That's what I use to lock this into place. So I do a little bit on each one. So that's so this can't move because it's up quite high off the mill table. And if there's going to be vibration, it'll happen. So that's why this is all pretty solid stuff. Took me a little while to figure out how to make it. So what we're going to do now is to put in the boring bar, and we're going to take a cut, and then you can see that. And then you can look at the photos and in your mind imagine how the rest of the machining process goes, because we've been in the shop here now for quite a while and we can't stay here forever. Well, I hope you learned a little bit about casting and fixturing, and you can see what's involved in machining head tubes and other casting. So thank you for watching. Mitch and I like coffees, as you know. It really helps our channel. And please subscribe, tell your friends. See you next time. Thank you.